The Lightning Process podcast. Using the tools of the mind-body connection for health and happiness. Hi, welcome to this episode of the Lightning Process podcast. I'm Dr. Phil Parker. Today I'm going to talk about a question that was raised recently to me in an interview, which was, does the Lightning Process work for everybody all the time? Or does it work for some people at certain points in time in their life? And it's a very smart question because it is pretty much how it is. The Lightning Process is very effective at helping people make change, but you've got to be ready for it. You've got to be in the right frame of mind. It's got to be the right time. I remember somebody saying to me they heard about the Lightning Process years ago and they thought, it doesn't sound like it's right for me. I'm not sure it makes any sense. And then one by one, a lot of her friends took it and got well, and she re-looked at it and thought, actually, this is something that's good for me. And she did it. She got a great change. But she said, if I had done it all those years before when I first came across it, I'm not sure it would have really worked for me because I just wasn't in the right headspace. And that's the same with anything. Sometimes people take up a hobby or a language, just not quite ready for it, and they come back to it later on and when it feels right, and then they jump on it and make huge change. So the second question this person asked me was, so if that's true, that there's a kind of an optimum time to do the Lightning Process for every individual, then what are the signs that you might be ready? Which is another great question. So first sign you're ready is it kind of makes sense to you. You think, I've looked into this. This feels like that's logical. So to do that, you need to look at the research, ask people, talk to a practitioner, read everything you can until you get a sense that, this makes sense. So one of the things you need to buy into, if you will, is the mind-body connection, that you can influence your physiology by changing the way you use your brain. And the research is very clear that you can, but for a lot of people, that's quite new information. So it may take a little bit of time to get your head around that, because it's not what we all grew up with. I certainly didn't grow up with that as a conversation. I had to kind of find my way through it. So that's the first thing. If you think, I'm just not sure you can really change your physiology by changing the way your brain works, then you're not ready to do the process, because the process is all about putting the tools into place to do that. And if you think that's not possible, then, it's probably not the right thing for you. I remember having a discussion with someone on Twitter, and they were saying, I just don't buy into this, the brain-body, mind, brain-body connection. I just don't think it's real. And I said, well, have you read the research? And they went, yeah, I read the research, but I just don't believe the researchers are being truthful. It's like, okay, well, then probably the Lightning Process would not be a course for you, because you're making lots of interesting assumptions that people are lying about research, when actually the whole point of research is to present information in the most rational, logical way that you can. And for that person, it wouldn't be much point in them doing the Lightning Process or anything involving that interconnection between how you use your brain and how your body works. And that's fine. It's like, it's not for everybody. You have to be in the right place. So that's the first thing. Get your head around, this makes sense to me. The next thing is, having explored all that, to ask all the questions you want to ask before you do the process. You don't really want to be doing the process still questioning, is this the right thing for you? It's a bit like, once you decide to do a university degree or get married or make some kind of commitment to doing something, you want to have asked all your questions, like, do I actually like this person? Is this the person I want to get married to? Or do I like this town where the university is, or the course? You want to have kind of gone through that stuff before you go forwards for it. So make sure it makes sense to you. You've had your questions answered. You get on with your practitioner, all those things. And these things are not particular to the Lightning Process. It's true of anything. There's lots of research, for instance, that if you have an operation and you don't like the surgeon, chances of you recovering are reduced than if you really do like the surgeon, and so on. So use that to your advantage and think, okay, can I, be honest with yourself. Do I feel like this is a good fit for me? And part of the thing I talked about in one of the other episodes about being over-analytical. Being over-analytical, there are absolutely brilliant times to be very, very analytical about things. And that is in the process of gathering information about doing a course like a learning process or anything, going to university, getting married, question those things. Absolutely. Once you've made your choice, okay, I've got the information I need, then at that point, it's good to kind of park those analytical thoughts and go, well, I've answered those questions for me. Now I need to engage in the process. So now an analogy I often give is like, if you go to the movies and you see Tom Cruise in a movie, the whole point of going to the movie, assuming that you've decided to go to this movie and it's not random, you've chosen to go to the movie, is to get in touch with the experience that Tom Cruise really is that secret agent. And then you get the movie experience. You could equally sit and watch that movie and go, nah, he's not really a secret agent. He's actually a small American. And he's not even there. These are actually photons of light bouncing off the screen onto my retina. That will give you a very different experience of the movie. Equally true, that all those things are true, but you don't get the same experience as the person next to you who's enraptured by finding out what's going on in the experience. And that's why when you do anything, you kind of need to ask your questions first, get your head around, like, does this make sense to me? And then once it does, if it does, you may decide to go forwards. If you think this doesn't fit for me, then don't do it. It's a good decision to not do it. I really would recommend people not do something until they're in the place where you think, yeah, this probably makes sense to me. Yeah, I've got a good sense for this. And then when you do it, having answered your questions, do it. Put your energy into doing it rather than going, have I done the right thing? That's really not a smart. That's called buyer's remorse, when you buy something and think, oh, should I bought this thing? Or you make some decision and go, I wish I hadn't done that. It's like, if you're going to do it, do it. That seems to be one of the most useful things. The other thing I'd really recommend is asking yourself, do I think I am similar enough to the other people who've got change? Notice the phrase I use, similar enough, because the chances of you finding someone who's an actual twin who has exactly the same issues as you is quite small. But asking yourself, am I similar enough? Because what you want to do is you want to see people who've recovered, and instead of seeing how different they are from you and then being able to discount, well, that worked for them, but I don't think it worked for me, instead to ask yourself, right, do I have enough in common? Does their experience, their illness, similar enough to me that if it worked for them, I can see how I could use the tools to get the same kind of change? So those are the three things I would really, there are other things as well, but those are the things I would really look at. I guess the final thing, which is again fairly obvious from the previous episodes, is asking yourself, okay, clearly it's a training. There's got to be work to do. Do I feel I'm ready to do that work? Again, if you think, oh, I don't think I will, or I don't really like doing work, I don't really want to apply myself, again, don't do it. Really don't, because that's what a training is. So if you can tick those boxes, then you're in a good place to move into the lightning process. If any of those points you think, I'm just not sure about that, then I would recommend don't do it. Instead, talk to somebody, talk to a friend who's done it, talk to a practitioner, do more research, maybe go and do something else. Not everybody has to do the lightning process. It's a free country. It does work very well, but it tends to work very well when people are very much in the right space to get value from it, because it's not a fix. It's not somebody going, here's this pill, here's this operation. It's a training. The training means the training materials have to be delivered, sure. They have to make sense, and they have to be things that you're happy to take on. So those are some pointers. I hope that's useful. It's really important, I think, that as many people as possible can make the best informed decisions about, is this likely to work and fit with me? Because that's what we want. We want people to get well, but we want them to find a way that works for them. And, in our experience, the lightning process is very good, but you do have to be get your thoughts straight about, is this the right thing for me? So I hope that's useful, and I will see you on the next one. The Lightning Process podcast. Using the tools of the mind-body connection for health and happiness. If you'd like to know more, please visit us at lightningprocess.co.uk.